So good to be with you, your favorite uncle once again. And it's good to see that our family is growing and everyone is just happy to see that we've been doing great work. Right. So I just thought that first of all, I would just use this time to first of all encourage you that I see your comments and I see everything that you've been saying on the channel and about what the work that we're doing. So at the end of the day, I am truly, truly grateful for the work that you guys are pulling off and obviously our contribution to it. And then secondly, I will be going through your questions in just a few so that it informs maybe some of the things that I may do. I can maybe publish just one or two more videos before the day ends. Obviously, it will be, obviously it will depend on what you guys, your comments are. But first of all, I just want to, so this stream is going to be about 30 minutes or so. It will depend on your questions at the end of the day. What I just wanted to essentially say is that for your math exam for tomorrow, please, I want you to consider the following, right? First of all, the greatest enemy tomorrow that you'll be facing is not the exam itself, but it will be time, right? Because if I had to give you an indefinite amount of time, of course, you could crack all the questions eventually. But remember that time is your greatest enemy. So in this case, you have to really make it a point that you do as much as you possibly can within the time that you are allocated. And then secondly, just another point, I see many people asking about probability and asking about financial mathematics. Of course, there are playlists on those. Now, if you're finding yourself at this point, okay, not being able to crack the two sections, my advice to you would be, please, I want you to consider, what shall I say? Rather, maybe forget about those sections. Not really forget, but maybe, just look through the sections that are most important. And what are those? I would say to you, please look at, first of all, functions. That constitutes the biggest section of your your paper one that you will be writing. So make sure that by the end of tonight, when it comes to functions, that's the part that you master the most. Okay. And then secondly, I would say the next biggest section, in my opinion, would be obviously calculus. Of course, that is still part of functions, because think about it. You will be looking at, the cubic function, right? So the cubic function obviously still is a part of that. So in this case, please just consider, look at those sections and make it a point that you master them. Okay. So now, the strategy. Okay, I see most of you are saying probability and you're showing broken hearts and so on. Please remember that that's I wanted to actually give you a breakdown of actually the marks per section. Perhaps I'll do that with paper 2 better. Okay, so please remember, in this case, you cannot throw away perhaps the marks in this case on the sections that you already know, just for something that you maybe are not really too familiar with. So I would say to you, please go through that playlist that I've taken time to create on probability. That playlist is actually quite good. And there's also another one on fundamental counting principles. Okay, so please make it a point that you go through that. You'll see that I've done quite a bit on that. And I see also another section, optimization. Now, you remember, the reason why you are likely to perhaps struggle with those sections, remember, because they are word sums, right? So remember, word sums in this case, you would need to interpret the English. Now, I don't know, just like in my case, I'm not a first, an English first language speaker. So as a result, I tend to struggle a little bit with, interpretation of the language. But in this case, we have to find a way to highlight those keywords. All right. When I did that playlist on optimization, I showed you how you can actually just extract keywords and derive an equation based on that. Okay. Yeah, I see some of you comparing me with some other YouTuber. No, guys, we are working together. We're a team. At the end of the day, the greatest goal is for all of you to pass. Okay. At the end of the day, you go to other channels. Of course, there are things that they explain better than I do, and so on. So we're all working collaboratively. But thank you so much, nonetheless, for the comment. So, as I was still saying, please make it a point that you do as much as you possibly can to interpret. When it comes to interpretation, okay, that becomes key when it comes to both financial maths and optimization. Now, let's talk about financial maths a little bit. Please don't panic. Okay, I see someone saying I'm panicking. The names are going quite fast from your comments. Now, when it comes to financial maths, please just know your formulae, right? Now, what am I saying? Yes, you'll be given a formula sheet, right? But nonetheless, even though you are given a formula sheet, please don't overly rely on it. So, for instance, you should know the difference between your future value and your present value formulae, right? So in this case, that would help you in order to interpret, scenarios. But as I said, I do have a playlist on that, and I will be helping you that will help you rather to interpret that. Okay, right. So what I want to do is I just wanted to peer through your questions and see if there are areas maybe during this live session that I can advise on. I also wanted to make it a point. Oh, and by the way, I see that people are using the super thanks and super stickers. Thank you so much for those of you who are contributing financially. Just to say thank you. You can do that. By the way, I see people also asking me about sending money on the account. What you can do, there's a special feature here on YouTube called Super Thanks. All right, you can just click on that and you can decide on any amount that you want to donate. And there are also super stickers. Those obviously work during the live sessions. Okay, you can use those. And thank you so much for those of you who are donating financially. Thank you. All right, now, as I said, I wanted to look through your questions and see if there are any areas that I can advise you on for tomorrow. But please don't panic, guys. I know some of you perhaps might have left things for the last minute, but I would, like to give you some hope. If you can just go through, I'm laughing because I saw someone showing a meme of them eating popcorn whilst they were watching my videos. I hope that's not what you guys are going to do. So let me see. From the questions that you are posing, please just ask the question so that perhaps what I can do is, if it's something that needs or requires me to pay attention to in terms of, creating a video for it, I can respond to it. I can probably throw something before the end of the day today. Okay. Yeah, financial maths, please. Someone says, I'm so scared. Optimization and probability. And Stuntman Skasana, thank you so much. He says, let's thank Malume over here, and he donated the 5 rands. Thank you so much, Stuntman. Okay. Okay, we're all going to practice. Hey, say, I sent you a question in your emails. It's really interesting. Please, if you can, I'm not sure who it is. It's just written NM. It's about number patterns. Please check it out. Okay. If you can just resend it again, I'll see if I can, just look through it. If it's something that's going to be interesting enough for all of us to, benefit from, I will definitely do my best to try and throw it before the end of the day. Fezile Mabuza is saying, what is optimization? Oh, with tears. Oh, Nkosi. So optimization, basically it's application of calculus. Okay, so usually towards the end of your exam you'll have those questions where you need to make an equation and then they say find the maximum value. That's optimization. Okay, number patterns are the struggle. Okay, so patience. Number patterns, please just have a look at the videos that I've made. There's a playlist on them, but nonetheless, if it is still a struggle, again I do say it's not a big section. You can still do very well, despite the fact that you have not done number patterns. Okay, so tomorrow is the day. Okay, all right. Right, I'm just looking through the questions. I just want to see if, okay, Mlungisi lama, I'm not sure what that means. Okay, most of the times, okay, Lesego is saying most of the times financial maths, they'd say compounded, then use compound interest, then boom, memo, they used future value. All right. In fact, I just threw a question on that. Please have a look at it. There's a question that I did. I think it's from 2018 or 2019. I'm not too sure, but I did the solution to it. I walked through the solutions through it this morning. I dropped it at 10 o'clock, I think. So please have a look at it, and you'll see the difference. Okay. When you're supposed to use future value. Okay, game optimization, Malome. Okay, streetwise too. Okay, all right. How to approach the last question? Okay, right. That's a very good one. Okay, so last question, remember, that usually has to do with optimization. In this case, as I said, there's a kind of a formula that I use when it comes to that, right? So remember, what you do is you always, obviously, as you read through the statement, right, you find a way to derive a formula. I wish I had my board here so that I could show you. Right, so they always give you, maybe say, for instance, if it's cost, let's say they say to you cost per kilometer, right? So you find a way to make what do they call it, a formula based on cost. But remember, if it's cost per kilometer, then it means if you want to just have cost, then you need to multiply by the number of kilometers. So what it does require you is that sometimes you need to have to derive an equation based on kilometers. I'm just making an example, and then kind of merge the two together. Okay. Someone is saying cross night with us. That Nkosi. Oh no, I don't encourage cross nights, by the way. Guys, here's my advice to you. When it comes to the day before the exam, so you kind of want to wind down towards 10 o'clock today, so that you make sure that you get enough rest. Okay, I completely discourage cross nights, because that's when you'll hear people say, I blacked out during the exam. So please make it a point that you don't, you do not cross night. Okay. Studying across the night is not healthy for your brain, and in this case it might fail you at a critical time. Okay, I'm looking here. They say, hey, say, I sent you a question. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's it's repeating that again. Interpretation, please, of what? Bego, I'm not sure what interpretation you're talking about. Please let me know. Probability, if we are upgrading our marks, our CAS mark from high school is included. Right. Now, if you are upgrading, I hope that you've already gone to fetch your exam schedule so that you get your new exam number. All right, because you won't be using the same one that you used at high school. So your CAS mark, yes, it is still applicable depending on when you wrote. The CAS mark usually expires after 5 years. But I heard that there was a talk about expiring after 3 years. So I'm not too sure about that. But here's the thing about it. Please don't worry yourself about things that you cannot control at this moment. Okay. So once again, the thing that you should be focusing yourself on or towards is your final exam. So please don't worry too much about, CAS marks and so on and so forth. Okay. For me, I think the most important thing, thank you once again, Stuntman, for the donation. All right. So the thing that you should be focusing on is making sure that you do well for tomorrow's exam. Okay, so that's the most important thing. So make it a point that when it comes to tomorrow, you do the best that you can. Okay, right, and you forget about things that you can't control. Yeah, I agree. Surprise said there are questions on graphs. F of x multiplied by g of x greater than 0. Those type of questions. Now, let me just explain first of all. When they say f of x multiplied by g of x, right? What it actually means is that you take the y values, okay? So you take the y values of both graphs. So say, for instance, they say to you, f of x multiplied by g of x is greater than 0. So when do we get something that's greater than 0? That means something that's positive in maths. Remember, for it to be positive, it means that you have to have either both f of x and g of x both positive, because a positive times a positive will give you a positive, right? Or in this case, it would mean that both of them need to be negative. So you need to track on your graph, right? And see, where is my f of x positive when my g of x is positive as well, right? And in this case, where is my f of x negative when my g of x is negative as well, right? I hope I'm able to explain that well enough. So in this case, please remember, so when they say f dash x or f prime x, so what do they actually mean there? Remember, that has to do with f prime x is the derivative. So it means that you are looking now whether, now f prime x greater than 0 means it's an increasing function, right? And f prime x less than 0, it's a decreasing function. So let's say they say to you, you've got, where is f of x multiplied by f prime x greater than 0? So it means you are looking at f of x being positive as well as f prime x being an increasing function. So where is your graph both increasing and positive when it comes to your y values, right? I hope that I'm explaining that well enough, okay? And of course, when f prime x is less than 0, it means that you've got a decreasing function. All right. All right. Okay, Mr. Mlungisi, I personally want to do the touch or the tough ones once they have because they have high marks. There is these questions that have 4 or 5 marks on question 1. Please, if you don't mind, just look through the examples. So I've been publishing past exam questions from, I think, about 2 weeks ago on mathematics. So just go to my home page or go to the videos page and see through those question papers that I've been publishing one at a time. Okay, right. Another question. Second difference is equal to 4, then T1 is equal to Find the equation. That's the one I sent. Okay, so as I said, I will have a look at it, and then if it is something that I feel would be worth it to just go through it, then I will actually just publish something before the end of the day today. Okay. Is it possible to get full marks? Absolutely. Guys, I just want to say I got 40. In fact, the first time around when I was writing mathematics, I did tell you that, I went through a process where I had to upgrade, right? First time around, I got a B. It was in standard grade for maths. Okay. So that didn't really mean much, right? You couldn't do much with those results. But the second time around, actually, I was writing IEB. I actually got 95% for maths. So I'm definitely sure that it is possible for you to get full marks in mathematics. Okay. Someone says, no, you all must rest. Don't work until midnight. Yes, please. I hope they can hear you and read through your comment. All right, I'm just trying to see whose comment that was. Okay, it just went away. Inequalities relating to functions. Okay, so that's the same one that I was kind of explaining just now. Okay, is it compulsory to answer the questions from the first question to the last, or is it answering randomly? Okay, yes, you can start with any question. By the way, you can start with any question paper, a question rather. So in this case, please make sure, if you're going to start, let's say for argument's sake, you start with question 5. I'm just making an example, right? You start with question 5. Please make it a point that you finish question 5. So meaning that you can't start question 5 and write 5.1, 5.2, then you say 4.3, right? It means you finish the entire question 5 and then you can move to the next question. Okay, right. I see we've got nature of roots as well. Shepherd Mashaba, thank you for that donation as well. Thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. I see some of you are criticizing when others are donating an amount. For me, I really, really, really appreciate even the smallest of the smallest amount, because it is a sign or a show of appreciation. And I really, 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 really would like to say thank you to all of you who are making those contributions. All right. In probability, can the associated notation be used, such as yes, you can. P prime A, which is, yes, you can do that. Okay, your question just went by so fast as well. Malume, please leak the paper. Oh no, I cannot do that. Even if I did have the paper, I wouldn't do that, because I don't want you guys to, to be shortchanged and to get used to cheating. You're still gonna go far in life, and obviously taking shortcuts is never, the best way. Graph interpretation, please. That's Busiso. Graph interpretation, please have a look at those questions that I've been publishing on graphs, and then it will really, really help you when it comes to that. Okay. All right. Can you get a distinction with just your final exam only? Absolutely. Even if your case mark, and by the way, I did hear someone say that if your case mark is actually, or rather, if your final exam mark is good enough, right? They actually discard your case mark. But as I said, guys, please, let's rather not focus on things that we cannot control, but let it be rather that we can focus ourselves on things that we can control. And that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. Okay. All right. Someone is asking, sometimes we know, goodness, your comments are going quite fast. Thank you, Mesh. Thank you for that monetary gift. Okay, can't afford to sleep early. No, you have to, please. At the very latest, guys, please, 11 o'clock. I don't want to see your comments at 3 o'clock in the morning, okay? How do we advise we tackle application of calculus? All right, I just advised that now. Please remember, you read through carefully. You make sure that you make you create an equation, rather, in this case, based on what you are given. All right. And of course, remember, they'll always at the end of the question say optimize, or rather, find, the cost such that it's maximum, or find the distance such that it's maximum. So every time we get to that, you get to that part. And by the way, remember, they would have given you the equation. So it's not all lost, right? They would have given you, because they always say prove that the cost is something, right? Now, how do you optimize? You just take the derivative of that particular equation. If you are unable to derive the equation, right, it's okay, you can actually, thank you, Peño. Actually, you can make do without that, right? So if it happens that you did not optimize, you were not able to get the equation, it's still okay. Not all is lost. So what you do to optimize, you take the derivative of that equation and make it equal to 0, right? Now, once you've taken the derivative and make it equal to 0, right? In this case, it means that you can solve and find, let's say, the value of x, right? Let's say if they said to you, find the maximum distance, right? Or let's say maximum cost, and the cost is related to x, and x, let's say, is the velocity, the speed of something. So what you do is take the derivative, make it equal to 0, and then find the value of x. But once you found the value of x, you substitute it back into the original equation to find your optimum value, right? Okay, so I see is higher than my SPA. How will they affect my final mark? In this case, as I said, let's focus on the exam, okay? I know we want to be thinking about SPAs, we want to be thinking about, other things that are not in our control. I will definitely advise that please do not worry yourself about that. Let's make sure that you do well for tomorrow. Yo Mlungu, ngicela ungiboleke ingqondo yakho. Unfortunately, I can't. Okay, so for those of you who don't understand, someone is saying I should borrow them my brain. Unfortunately, I can't do that. But I did share some of it with you through my teachings. So in this case, just use that to actually find what my brain is thinking, to find out what it's thinking. Okay, right. All right, so I'm just peering through. I think I want to close this session off with just a little bit of motivation for you. 70% and couldn't do much. So could you please do a video where you're doing level 4 questions, please? All right. Yeah, but that would be a weird video if I'm just doing only the difficult questions, because then I want you to understand that, remember, the bulk of what you'll be doing tomorrow, you are things that are within reach, are things that really could, you definitely can be able to understand them, right? Unfortunately, I can't borrow you my brain. But so for tomorrow, please remember, most of the questions, right? At least if you consider yourself average, which I don't believe you are, right? You can actually get 65% comfortably, right? Now, the more difficult questions in this case, you'd see that are things that, obviously it's for those students that have really been, applying themselves and so on. But here's my advice for you, okay? Please, as I said, previously when I made a live video, don't start with the things that you are not confident about. So here's my advice for you. Before the end of tonight, make it a point that, so if you look at your functions, make it a point that you understand them. So if you were to say, Malume, please give me advice. I haven't studied all year. What should I do now? I'm writing tomorrow. I'd say to you, go through my playlist on functions, right? and then look at the past exam questions that I did on functions, right? Secondly, I'd say look through calculus, right? Deriving and so on, and look through the past exams as well. Okay, so I've got an entire playlist that is dedicated towards revision. So please make sure that you use that playlist as well. Okay, right, guys, I want to be bringing this session to a close. It's really been great being with you. Thank you so much. To those of you who have contributed financially, I can see there's about 217 rands that have been contributed. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, because for me, it is just a sign of just showing appreciation. I created this channel solely for, to be able to reach people in the remotest parts of our countries who couldn't access learning. And for me, that it's able to help you, I will give of myself. You see, this content, I could have been charging premium amounts for it, but I'm choosing to give instead, so that you can benefit. Someday in the future, maybe some of you will be working in other parts of the country, rather the world. And I want to know that I contributed even the least bit, in making sure that you guys thrive. So I want to say thank you so much. Thank you, Jane, for that contribution. I see it, right. And just finally, guys, please just make it a point that you get sufficient rest. As I said, you drink enough water, and at the end of the day, if it happens that tomorrow does not go well, it is not the end of the world, right? We can talk again about how we can try to improve going into Monday. I will be publishing from tomorrow paper 2, past exam questions. There are already some that are available for you, but I will be making sure that I try to help out as much as I possibly can. All right, ladies and gents, I want to bring this session to a close, and I want to say thank you to all of you for watching. Thank you for just the time. And by the way, can you please advise me? We are fast approaching 100,000 subscribers. How would you like for us to celebrate together? Okay, if you can, please in the comments tell me how you'd like for us to celebrate. Hopefully by then you would have finished with your exams. I was thinking of having a ask Malume anything type of a live session. But we'll see how we can celebrate that. And thank you so much to all of you that subscribed, that have been following the journey, that have contributed in whatever shape or form. Thank you so much for just being with us. And from me, for now, I think I want to call this session closed. All right, and I'll be seeing you next time. Sharp.